Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzzcast. We've been getting a lot of great feedback for you, so keep it coming in the comments below. I'm Jim Morrison, and today we have Joan Trice, CEO of Allterra Group, as well as Woody Fincham, CEO and founder of Fincham and Associates. We'll be talking with Woody what it's like being a boots-on-the-ground appraiser and what's going on with the market in his area. Joan, I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thank you, Jim, and welcome, Woody. We really appreciate you joining us. And yes, how dirty are your boots today? We're going to talk about what's going on out in the real world with real appraisers. So, Woody, there's a lot going on. Lots of alternative products coming down the pike. And I, of course, keep up with social media and through the buzz. We get feedback all the time. What's your experience thus far with some of these alternative products?
First of all, thanks, Joan and Jim, for having me on. It's always a pleasure to have a conversation with you. But yeah, experience with alternative products, we're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I mean, the PDR is going to become a thing next month with Freddie. We're having a lot of lenders reach out to us wanting appraisers to actually do it and not a third-party inspection company because they know appraisers understand what they need. And we've been going back and forth on that. Whether or not we're going to do them or not, we've not made a decision as far as the company goes, but I'm really appreciative to the lender clients who are actually letting us be part of that conversation. We're seeing a lot of I've done several broker presentations this year where apparently agents and brokers are being approached to do a lot of this third-party stuff. And they've got lots of questions. ANSI, which doesn't apply to them as it does to us for Fannie stuff, but they are certainly concerned about it because they see it as a liability thing. So we're hearing a lot of scuttlebutt about, well, how do you measure a house and that kind of thing. It's something I get asked very frequently with our Realtors Association here. Very
interesting. Yeah, I thought that was an old legacy problem from, decades ago when I started. The legend was that a realtor got sued for having the wrong square footage. Right. And then suddenly every agent in the United States is given the advice to never, ever measure a property and enter square footage on your own without using a third-party source that you're referencing. And that's unfortunate. And it's created a real bottleneck, surprisingly, in real estate data, frankly. Yeah. Don't you think?
It has. I understand why Fannie went to the standard in the first place, just because they need to normalize the differences that are out there. There's too many folks that were practicing on, well, this is my opinion of how I should be doing it, rather than having something to really hang their hat on. And, I've always been of the opinion of my mentors have always taught me that you don't even check a box without having support on an appraisal form. So you need to be very careful about that. And I think that's just the way a lot of appraisers are just trained, and it's ingrained in us to want to have that kind of support in our work file and in the report itself.
So, what surprises me, though, Woody, and this was stunning. Not the pushback on change. You can count on that. That's guaranteed. But the confession by a significant number of appraisers that they've never measured a property before. It's like, yeah. How can that be? I'm stunned. I don't even know what to say to that.
Well, I mean, that's an unfortunate reality because a lot of us are signing reports that are saying that we personally inspected, and we're also giving the impression that we are actually sketching these properties. I mean, it's a requirement and an assignment condition in just about every type of mortgage product that requires an interior inspection. So that baffles me too. I mean, I'm in the same social media groups you are, and
yeah,
I scratch my head often.
Yes, it happens. Well, let's do this. Let's break right here for a commercial message, and we'll be right back.
We didn't build Remote Val for appraisals. We built it for appraisers. With Remote Val, you are in control. Unlike a hybrid valuation, you directly gather the information, photos, measurements you need while communicating with the homeowner. And with no travel time, save gas and increase the number of inspections you can perform. Combined with 24-hour pay and our exclusive benefits, it's no wonder more appraisers are choosing Incenter Appraisal Management. Remote Val is fast, easy to use, and completely free for appraisers. To see a demo of Remote Val in action, visit IncenterAM.com.
Welcome back, Woody. Let's talk about your practice. And I know, for example, that you do a lot of private work, I think. And
We do.
So tell us how you decided how'd you make that decision to go down that path?
Well, I mean, I found out a long time ago that, and there's nothing wrong with being solely a lender use appraiser. I mean, if that's what you want to do. I'm not trying to say there's anything negative or wrong about that. But I found out a long time ago that if I work with clients who see me as a commoditized service, which most by and large, it's going to be lenders. A lot of times we're just looked at as a box that needs to be checked as part of the loan process. So they want to get it over with as quick and as cheaply as they can. But one of my mentors a long time ago said, hey, work with clients that want to work with you, not ones that have to work with you. So we started getting a lot of calls here in Charlottesville because there's a lot of my colleagues and peers here that won't do certain types of things. I mean, they want to stay in subdivisions. They don't like rural markets. They don't like weird stuff, mansion level, estate level properties. And there's really no one else out there to really do it. So it was an opportunity we saw that we could fill. And because of that, I'm sort of like Mikey from Life Cereal, if you remember the old commercials, Mikey will eat anything basically. Right. And we're happy to do it. And when you're in that space, you're able to kind of set your fees the way you want to set them. People are asking you to help them in a situation and you can charge pretty much what you want to in those situations. It's worked out well for us from a revenue stance.
What kinds of properties did you end up specializing in?
The biggest one over the last few years has been the green or sustainable residential buildings. We do a lot of work with solar panels, solar PV systems, and properties that are certified. Either some of the big certifications here are Pearl Home Certification, LEED, and there's some others too, but those are the two biggest. Earthcraft is another one, which they've changed the name of, and I don't recall what it is off the top of my head, but those are the two or three that we see a lot here. And that was a space I'd honestly like to say I was being altruistic by getting involved with it because, there's a lot of, philosophy about being green and things like that. But honestly, I had a real estate agent meet me at an appointment several years ago, and they're like, nobody will do these kinds of properties, or they're not giving it there's no credibility or credence being given to whether or not a property is energy efficient or not. And I was like, that's another spot where we could do something with it. That has evolved over the last 5 or 6 years for our practice into a very lucrative specialization. I've been involved with Pearl Home Certification a couple of times now, writing white papers for them. And they're great assignments because we're not actually giving opinions of value. We're going in and doing market analysis and data analysis to find out, well, does a Pearl certification actually add value to a home? And is the consumer base willing to pay more money for it? And the first time we did it, I was working under Sandy Adamatis, who everybody knows Sandy. I call her the Queen of Green. Sandy brought me in and another appraiser here locally, Don Boucher, to come in and work on the project I think it was since 2017. And then when Sandy got voted in as vice president of the Appraisal Institute, her ability and availability has been greatly limited. And so when Pearl wanted to do a follow-up to that, they reached out to me to do it because Sandy didn't have the time to accommodate it. And we started with a study here in Charlottesville, and now we've moved it out to a more national level. We've just looked at data in Boston, Phoenix, and Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Well, Woody, excuse me, we're going to take one more quick break and we'll be right back.
Sure.
The Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal, 7th edition, is a landmark text that reflects the depth and breadth of appraisal knowledge. Each entry, definition, and reference has been painstakingly researched and designed to reflect an expert understanding of issues that currently impact the profession. The new dictionary is an essential, authoritative resource for all appraisers. To purchase, visit appraisalinstitute.org/dictionary7.
Welcome back. And Woody, let's talk about a really timely topic because, boy, I just personally traveled from Sarasota, Florida over the holiday weekend to Ocean City, Maryland. And wow, what a tale of two cities. Things are booming in Florida, and you wouldn't have any idea that there was any kind of hint of any kind of economic turmoil. And I'm in a coastal resort area that was incredibly empty over a busy holiday weekend. And I was shocked at what I saw, or it was definitely a harbinger of things to come. So what's your advice to appraisers all across the country in vastly different markets, CYA in the coming months?
This is where the most friction points usually come up on purchases. Whenever, I've been doing this long enough now, I've been through a couple of down cycles. And right when the market has hit its crest and it's starting to normalize, because purchasing power is out the window now. With the rates going up as much as they have, it's really created a problem in the market as far as having the ability to buy. People that were once buying an $800,000 level are now at a $500,000 level with the same payment. So what they can buy is not as appetizing, I guess is the right word.
Right.
But this is where a lot of times appraisers are going to start seeing where they're not able to support contracts probably more often than any other time. And unfortunately, that's going to create a lot of friction between agents and consumers and the appraisers. This is really a really important time to really understand and apply proper market analysis in whatever an appraiser's writing, whenever an appraiser's writing an opinion of value. It's not, how a market changes is the essence of what we do. And we study change and we report on change. And we've got to have really sound fundamentals in what we're doing and understanding how to trend out markets and talk about available, inventory. Because even though purchasing power is down, like here in Charlottesville, we still have no inventory on the market. The prices are still going to be high, but the problem is as that market normalizes, sellers typically are going to be about, I'm just throwing a number out here, but 2 or 3 months behind the curve. And when does normalize downward, they're still going to be thinking that, they've got $1 million home when they might have an $800,000 home. So this is really where I think appraisers need to really apply what they've learned as far as applying market conditions adjustments and supporting what's going on and understanding supply and demand economics. It's really something that I think a lot of folks unfortunately gloss over when, writing that paragraph will really help you out in these situations, I think, anyway, at least in my experience.
Right. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Woody, thank you very much for sharing your experiences from the field. And I will see you at Valuation Expo, I hope. And
yes, ma'am.
Look forward to seeing you then.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you, Woody.
All right.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Woody. And thanks for our listeners for joining us today. We also want to send out a special thank you to our sponsors. If you have any comments or would like to submit an idea of your own for a Buzzcast, reach out to us at comments@appraisalbuzz.com. Thanks and have a great day.